Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen wa la udwana illa ala adh-dhalimin was salatu was salamu ala sayyidil awwalin wal akhirin nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Praise be to Allah alone, we praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to any edition of Ask Huda. Quick reminder in the beginning with our phone numbers, area code 002023855, 248 or 249, and the email address is ask@huda.tv. We had a little trouble with the email questions, but inshallah we are in the process of fixing them. As a matter of fact, we have a very important question which I'd like to begin by answering. It is pertaining divorce. Some people say, we hear about the term al-talaq al-bid'i or the bid'i talaq and the sunni talaq. What is the difference and whether it does count or not? Al-talaq al-bid'i is a divorce that is done not in accordance to the sunnah, rather in contradiction to what the Prophet ﷺ and the Quran prescribed if a person decided to divorce his wife, or if a couple came to an agreement to separate via divorce. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, in the very first verse of chapter At-Talaq, of divorce, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ وَأَحْصُوا الْعِدَّةِ, which means, O Prophet, when you divorce women, divorce them at their iddah. The iddah is the prescribed period, and count it accurately. فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ, which means there is a certain time which the person is allowed to divorce his wife during, or the couple may agree to divorce during this time, and there is a certain time which is not permissible to divorce or pronounce or file for a divorce during this time. The time which is not permissible if a woman is experiencing her menses. Look at the hikmah and the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because normally when a woman is going through the period, the menstruation, or experiencing the PMS, she's also going through hormonal changes, and she may get angry, and that may infuriate the husband, and if he does not keep in mind that it is not permissible to divorce her during this time, divorce will be widespread when they pick up a fight for a minor thing. This is as far as the psychological part of divorce. As far as maintaining the family lineage and nasl, the Prophet ﷺ, when Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu ardah came to him and said that his son, Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, divorced his wife while she was in her menses. He said, مُرْهُ فَلْيُرَاجِعْهَا حَتَّى تَطْهُرْ. Order him that he should return her back to his marriage life until she is in a state of purity after the menses. Then, afterward, if she experiences the menses and she is pure, if he wants to divorce her, then he may divorce her with one condition, before having an intimate relationship with her. And that explains to us the difference between the bid'i divorce and the sunni one. The bid'i divorce, or talaq, not in accordance with the sunnah, which is rejected, and the husband will be committing a sin if he were to divorce his wife during this time. If he divorces her while she is experiencing her menses, or after she finishes her menses, she is in a state of tuhr or purity, and he happened to have an intimate relationship with her. Why? Because there is a possibility that maybe she conceived. So the iddah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed as in the very first verse of Surah Al-Talaq, فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ, is to maintain and to make certain that she is not pregnant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. Let the divorced women wait before having the right to remarry or accept any marriage proposals. They must wait for 3 periods, 3 quru. Now whether the quru, which is plural of qur, is the menses or the period of tahara after the menses, the issue is during this iddah, which is either 3 quru, 3 periods, or 3 months if a woman does not experience the period anymore. During this time, if it is after the first or the second divorce, that's called reversible, revocable. The husband has a right to recall his wife back to his marriage life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. One may divorce his wife once and the second time. And after the first and the second time, within the iddah, which is 3 quru, 3 periods, it is permissible for him to return her back to his marriage life. But after the iddah is over, then that would require, if it is after the second and the third and after the period is over, that would require her consent, an agreement of the wali, and a new dowry and a new marriage contract. If it was after the third divorce, then the third divorce is irrevocable, irreversible, and they will not be able to remarry once again حتى تنكح زوجا غيره, before she marries somebody else, as we spoke about this before repeatedly. So if somebody wants to divorce his wife and he found that she is in her period or having her menses, it is haram to divorce her during this time. And if she's not in the period, but he happened to have an intimate relationship, a complete sexual relationship with her during this time, he also is not permitted to divorce her during this time, which makes the process, which slows down the process of divorce and gives them a respite and gives them a chance to reconcile. This is a great divine wisdom. Then afterward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة. During the iddah, which is the 3 quru, it is not permissible to kick them out of their houses, which initially are owned by their husbands. They are divorced, but she must stay in that house in an attempt to reconcile once again, perhaps seeing each other on regular basis, day and night, during the 3 months or the 3 periods. That would encourage them to resume their marriage life and so on. So the Islamic way of divorce is prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if one does other than that, that's called bid'i, against the sunnah, not in order with the sharia. The big question now, whether this divorce count or it does not. The vast majority of the Muslim jurists, Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Ahmed, Malik, are of the view that if somebody divorced his wife while she is in her menses, or divorced her 3 times at once, such as saying, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced, or such as the Arab normally say, you're divorced 3 times. That's called talaqun bid'i. That's an innovation. And that's a major sin that the husband has committed, and he has to seek forgiveness from Allah and repent. But does it count? Does it count? Okay, the vast majority of the fuqaha are of the view that yes, it does count. And that's a divorce while the husband is a sinner. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and a few others are of the view that since it is bad'i, it does not count. The more right view in the light of the evidences is the view of the vast majority of the fuqaha. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa alam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salma out of Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have a question on anger, and I'd like to know what we can do for anger, both when we get angry and when we feel generally angry and frustrated in life.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Ma salam.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's take Salma's question about anger because of its importance. Then I'll resume, inshallah, with the rest of the pending questions and emails. Anger management. Does Islam have anything to say about that? Of course. What is the opposite of anger? Tranquility and calmness, which is stemming from patience. The Prophet ﷺ spoke enough about the merits and the virtues of patience, to the extent that in one hadith he said that half of faith is patience. Half of Iman is patience. If one has patience and he is patient, then he has perfected 50% of his faith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran repeatedly encouraged us to endure things patiently, whether the divine decree, whether the calamities, whether what hurts us. And he said, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, give glad tidings to the patient ones, and so on. I mean, this is something that we can discuss for an entire program, for a whole series, as-sabr or patience. And he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in one hadith, وَالصَّبْرُ ضِيَاء. Sabr is light, but it is light with heat. وَالَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ ضِيَاءً وَالْقَمَرَ نُورًا. Because the moon provides us with light, but without heat, while the sun provides us with light, accompanied with heat. So as-sabr is a source of light. It provides us with light. It sheds life in our lives, but it requires strength. And that's why it is accompanied with heat in it. A man once came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, awsini, advise me. He said, La taghdab, do not get angry. He said, what else? He said, La taghdab. He repeated the same advice. And the third time he said the same thing. That was all the answer of the Prophet ﷺ to this very important question. He could tell the nature of the questioner and what he needed most, or also the circumstances and what the ummah needs at the time most. So he advised him not to get angry. It's very simple to tell somebody who is angry, hey, calm down, don't get angry. But it does not literally mean that. Rather, it means the anger management, which is explained over a series of ahadith and prophetic advices. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ advised one who is angry to do the following. He said, إِنِّي لَأَعْلَمُ كَلِمَةً لَوْ قَالَهَا لَيَجِدُ عَنْهُ لَذَهَبَ عَنْهُ مَا يَجِدُ. I know about a word. If this man who is very infuriated and angry, if he had said that word, it would have relieved him from his anger, or relieved his anger. The word is, I seek refuge with Allah against the outcast Satan. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. The Quran supported that. وَإِمَّا يَنزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. Seek refuge with Allah against الشيطان, of course. When the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, don't you see the redness on his face? It is due to the fact that his this anger is from fire. Anger is from Satan, and Satan is created from fire. And he said, nothing can extinguish fire better than water. So if any of you got angry, let him perform wudu. And these advices have been practiced, and we experimented that, and it does work 100%. And you try it yourself. When you get angry, rush to make wudu. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. This is a very important advice with regards to anger management. Do not say anything. Zip off your mouth. The Prophet ﷺ said, change your position. Do not say a word. If you're sitting down, stand up. If you're standing, sit down. Or depart the place which infuriated you or angered you. Do not have confrontation with the person who made you angry, lest it might deteriorate. It might get you sucked into something worse than just talking, into actions. And many people, most of divorce cases, the person says, I was angry. And if you examine all the homicide and the murder cases, the person will say that he made me angry. I was angry at him. So if the person avoids falling into the state of anger, most of the crises and the crimes will be eliminated. And if the person happens to be angry because anyway we have to get angry, the Prophet ﷺ would never get angry unless if any of the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have been violated. If any of the prohibitions of Allah have been broken or violated, at that the Prophet ﷺ would get angry. But even when people insulted him personally and assaulted him and cursed him, and Nabi ﷺ was always calm. طيب, let's take a few phone calls and I will resume with the anger management inshallah. Salam. Salih from Switzerland. Assalamu alaikum, Salih.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. Thank you for asking, Salih.
Sheikh, I have 2 questions, please.
Please, go ahead.
I was praying Salatul Dhuhr at the mosque, and then a brother came late, and then he joined the last 2 rakats.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the Imam, he said Assalamu alaikum, he also said Assalamu alaikum. So, and then after he gave up, and then he prayed 4 rakats. So these 4 rakats, after when he made Assalamu alaikum, I asked him, but why do you do this? So he said he didn't play Salatul Fajr or Subh. He don't pray this. So he make the niyyah to pray Salatul Subh with us in Salatul Dhuhr. So I told him, but why you don't pray? He said, because when he wake up, because he overslept, and when he wake up, it was already after 9, so the rising of the sun has already passed. So as for him, what he knows is that you are not allowed to pray till Dhuhr. So I said him, but this is far prayer, so after the rising of the sun, you can pray. So for him, he said, anyway, he don't know, he know it in this way. So I just say, I ask you to confirm this, which one is correct.
Okay.
And also about whether he can make the niyyah of Salatul Subh to pray with us for Salatul Dhuhr.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan, Salih. طيب. When the person examines the cases and experiences of others, like somebody who got angry and he shot somebody dead. So he says, you know what? I would rather not carry a pistol or a concealed handgun. Why? Because I know myself. If I get angry, I may grab the gun and pull the trigger. So he decided not to carry a gun in order not to get involved into a murder, because he gets angry. He knows that he gets angry. Today I have a conversation with a couple or with a person who got divorced. Why? Because they both were very angry. Afterward, after a chaos and a collapse, they realized that they were both angry and so on. So we have seen many cases like that. If one of them is wiser than the other a little bit and realizes that if we are both angry and insisting on demolishing our lives and no one is wise, what will happen is we will be another case that the shaitan succeeded in achieving this demolition. But when we hear about other cases and realize that it's all from a shaitan, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَجْرِي مِنَ ابْنِ آدَمْ مَجْرَى الدَّمِ مِنَ الْعُرُوقِ. I know of a person, I went once and I asked about the banker who normally assists me, and they said that he's in jail. Why? He killed his son. May Allah protect all of us. Because he was angry and he kept beating his son to death. In America, people kill simply if somebody offended him or cut him short or caused them. He can just, if he's living in the south, he can pull his shotgun and he can shoot somebody. Why? They called hot-blooded. They get angry. When you keep in mind and you just foresee the consequences of the anger, you can kill, you can divorce your wife, you can hurt yourself, you can hurt your family members. And afterward, regret will not help. It will not bring the dead back to life. It will not reconcile between you and your wife because you divorced her so many times. I have one lady who came to me and said, Sheikh, my husband divorced me several times, and same excuse that he was angry and so on. So before anything, I needed to ask how many times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الطلاق مرتان. If it is the first and the second, there is a resolution. But if it is the third, I have nothing to do with it. She said 30 times. 30. Somebody got angry 3. 0 times, 30 times he divorced his wife while he's angry. It doesn't make sense. So one has to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards a great deal for patience, and He hates anger. And the person who is angry and lets the shaitan control him, he loses. He definitely loses. So get up, perform wudu. It will be best if you can pray 2 rak'ah. And try this once. You will never stop this practice. Every time you get angry, wallahi, by making wudu and by praying 2 rak'ahs, a great deal of tranquility will descend upon you. And you realize, you know what? Actually, I was wrong. It happened with me many times, and I did not find a problem to tell the other party whom I was very angry at, to call him up and say, you know what, I'm sorry. It was my mistake. And the other party said, no, it was my mistake, and so on. Why? Because we diffuse the problem. We remove the shaitan and we set him away. If this is the case, and everybody knows how to resolve this problem and avoid anger in the first place, and manage it in case that we fall into the condition of anger, then inshallah Azza Jal will avoid its consequences. May Allah guide us to its best. Abrar from KSA, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Abrar?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Very good, alhamdulillah, shukran.
Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you with Jannat al-Firdaus.
Ameen. And you too, Abrar.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions. One question is, when during Hajj now, when the slaughtering happens, what happens is that the slaughter, there's a certain place where you go to slaughter the sheep or the goats. And once you get there, there are certain people who are standing there to slaughter your whatever animal you're bringing in. And there are masakin standing right in front. But the new rule is, or they don't give the slaughtered animals to the masakin in front. Either if you go there, you can buy it from them, or they send it with the municipality. So my question is it allowed to buy that meat? Because it's supposed to be for masakin, and you're purchasing it. So that's my question. Hope it's clear.
Yeah, it is clear, inshallah.
Okay. My second question is as-sunnah haq salat al-fajr, which is supposed to be before it. What if you got there and the salah has started? When can you pray it? Straight after the salah? I have heard you should pray it after tulu' ash-shams, after the sunrise. Mm-hmm. And the third question is about the length of the beard, how long it should be. And Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Thank you, Abrar. Barakallah feek. Brother Salih from Switzerland. Okay. Fasih from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, Fasih.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh. How are you doing?
Great, alhamdulillah.
Okay, Sheikh, I've got a question. My uncle has this colleague, she's a non-Muslim, and every time when she meets him, she greets him with a complete salam, you know, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And when my uncle replies her as wa alaikum, just that, she objects to it and she says that why not wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Mm-hmm. And that happened with other Muslim colleagues of hers too. So what's the correct way? Is it just wa alaikum, or so he should go on to say the complete salam?
Okay.
That's it. Jazakallah khair.
Okay. Thank you, Fasih. Salih had one question, consists of several parts. The first part is that somebody prayed behind an imam. The imam had a different intention than the follower. So the mas'ala is it permissible for a person to have a different intention in his prayer than the imam's intention? اختلاف نية الإمام عن المأموم أو المأموم عن الإمام. Yes, it is permissible. It is permissible that the person who did not pray Zuhr for a reason or another, a legitimate reason, or now he wants to make up Zuhr, and there is a jama'ah that is praying Asr, can he pray behind the imam who's praying Asr with the intention of praying Dhuhr? It is permissible. Can a person pray behind somebody who's praying Nafl with the intention that he's praying his own Fard? Somebody came late after Maghrib and he found somebody praying. Eventually he's praying his Sunnah. Can I join him with my intention? I'm praying Maghrib while he's praying the Sunnah. That is permissible. And all of that has an origin in the Sunnah. But his friend had prayed behind an imam with a different intention in a very specific case. The person was praying Dhuhr. He came and he prayed 2 rak'ahs with him. Then he made taslim. When he asked him, he said, I was praying or I was making up Fajr. Because I got up late, it was past sunrise. So I could not pray until it is Dhuhr. Is this true or false? That's absolutely false. And brothers and sisters, we have to have the least amount of fiqh, the understanding of our deen pertaining the namaz, the prayers, the fasting, the zakah, and the hajj. Because every person, every Muslim, every ordinary Muslim must perform these ibadat, especially the salah. So the person must be fully aware of how to offer the prayer, its times, al-qasr wal-jam', shortening and combining, making up the missed prayers, the nawafil, awqatul karaha, the dislike times to offer voluntary prayers, and sujood al-sahw. And it's not a big deal. You can learn all of that in a couple of days. With regards to what happens if you get up and you found that it's already sunrise, the time for Fajr is already out. It happened with the Prophet ﷺ. They were returning from one of the battles. They were so tired and exhausted, so they went to rest, and he asked Bilal ibn Rabah to wake them up for Fajr. Bilal ibn Rabah himself rested his back against the camel, and he overslept. Nothing awakened them but the sunlight, sun ray. So the Prophet ﷺ got up. He was, of course, a little upset because he asked Bilal to awaken them. But Bilal said, Ya Rasulullah, whatever happened to you happened to me. I too overslept. So Nabi ﷺ ordered them to call adhan, iqama, and he led them in jama'ah, and he prayed Fajr. And that was after sunrise. When we say there are certain times during the day which is disliked to offer any prayer, it's not any prayer, rather any voluntary prayer, any prayer which is not required. Somebody got up and it's already sunrise, can I pray Fajr? It's already permissible because that's a fard prayer, it's already a fard prayer. Asr, between after Asr namaz and until Maghrib, one of the times of karaha, it is disliked to offer any unnecessary or voluntary prayers. Okay, but I'm making up my fard. Can I? Not only that, you can also make up the sunnah, the nafl, which you missed. Once a Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was praying after Asr. So Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, one of the mothers of the believers, said, Oh Messenger of Allah, I thought you said that you're not allowed to pray after Asr until sunset. He said, yes, but these are the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah of Dhuhr. I was kind of busy, I forgot about them, so I am making them up. So if you get up at Fajr in the morning past sunrise, you should still pray Fajr. Now, Abrar had a question related to this also, which is, if you enter the masjid at Fajr and the Imam has started the prayer, he did not get to pray the 2 sunnah before Fajr, which is a confirmed sunnah, mu'akkada, an emphatic sunnah. What do? Do you pray them right after Fajr, even though this time is disliked, or you wait until past sunrise, 15 minutes past sunrise? Both are okay. And if you pray them right after Fajr, that's a prayer that has a reason. And I guess I just mentioned the hadith of Salama. May Allah be pleased with her. I guess we have another phone call. Assalamu alaikum. Najib from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. Sheikh, I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead.
One is regarding the property distribution. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with 3 or 4 immovable properties. I have a son and a daughter.
No.
And unfortunately, we see that after we pass away, or the inheritance, there is a lot of fight among the family and all. So I want to avoid this. And naturally, distributing the property is not easy, because one land may be a higher value, the other land may be lower value. So how do we distribute this? And I want to do something in my life so that my wife, my children, they don't fight after I pass away.
Najib, do you have any other heirs?
And my mother is alive.
Your mother is alive.
My mother, my brothers, sisters, and all are there. But
so you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, also.
Okay. Okay. I'll answer you inshallah azza jal. Jazakallah khair. طيب, we'll take a short break and inshallah we'll resume after a couple of minutes, so stay tuned.
In your standpoint of view, are there specific or certain criteria to choose your spouse or a partner, to marry or not to marry? Maybe that's the question. Do we revise the quality of performance of our treatment between the family members as fathers or mothers? As they say usually, it's not what you say, it's how would you say it. Wouldn't you like to be a good storyteller for your kids? Neurobiologically speaking, child abuse and emotional trauma causes scars in the brain of the child, and this might be not easily healing. What's the exact job description of a father? Is it clothing, payments, and feeding, or other important things? Well, I think the job description of a father is merely giving him love and care, self-confidence, giving him sense of security, and checking for the points of strengths to stress on them. What about potty training and its planning? Oh yeah, actually, it's a state, it's a condition. Fatherhood is not a body or a person, it's a state. Are you a good or skillful designer for the policy and the long-term plans of the life of your kids? Join us every Wednesday for family issues.
Please, brothers and sisters, in particular brothers, husbands, divorce is the last resort.
Even when I was given the topic, the art of divorce, I was thinking, why are we talking about a divorce?
As they say in management, do you take serious decisions when you are angry? No one is taking a very serious decision in his life, maybe in his business, while you are angry.
A divorce happening every 6 minutes.
We are not talking about enjoying the divorce, but we are talking about certain steps to be followed in order to avoid divorce or minimize the possibility of divorce or minimize the consequences of divorce. Any divorce taking place have many ill effects. So we would like to minimize those ill effects.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Abrar from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia had a question pertaining Al-Hajj, which we slaughter during Hajj. Of course, there are different terms, such as there is Al-Hajj, Al-Udhiyah, and Al-Fidyah. Al-Hajj is the animal which is slaughtered if the person is performing Hajjul Tamattu' or Hajjul Qiran, meaning if he is performing Umrah and Hajj during the month of Hajj, which is Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and of course the first 10 days of the month of Dhul Hijjah. So if the person is intending to do both Umrah and Hajj, then he is required to offer the Hajj. This Hajj will be treated similar to Al-Udhiyah. And the Udhiyah, when we slaughter it, we divide it into 3 portions. 1/3 you keep for yourself and your family, and 1/3 you give it away as a charity to the poor and the needy, the masakeen, and 1/3 you give it as a gift to your friends and colleagues and neighbors. You treat Al-Hajj likewise. but you're not allowed to sell any part of it because it is supposed to be entirely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To the extent that sometimes the butchers who slaughter the animals may take instead of their wages the head or the liver or the fur or the skin. That is haram, because this animal is a sacrifice entirely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you cannot neither sell nor buy any part of it. This is as far as the Hajj and the Udhiyah. With regards to the fidya is entirely given to the poor, and accordingly you cannot buy nor sell any part of it. The system that is followed in Saudi Arabia, at least in the past few days, of selling vouchers, where professional institutes or organizations, governmental and non-governmental, will be in charge of buying the herd and slaughtering them on our behalf and distributing them not necessarily only in Mecca, rather in some neighboring countries such as some parts in Africa if they are in need, is 100% valid pertaining the Udhiyah and the Hajj. The fidya must be distributed in Mecca. And that's why I personally resort to that system, and I advise every person who's performing Hajj to do likewise. Why? Because in the past, when we used to slaughter ourselves, we really get stuck and we don't know who's eligible and who's not. To the extent sometimes we slaughter our animals in order to practice the Sunnah and leave them there. And that results in what you just mentioned, that the butchers or some who do not have honesty and amana may end up selling the meat to individuals or to restaurants or. So in order to avoid all of that, it will be best to buy the voucher and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put it behind your back and consider it done. Unless if you know for sure there are certain families, if you are a local person and you know that there are some families who are in need, and if you slaughter this animal, it will be distributed instantly. Or if you are going with a caravan, they slaughter, distribute, and they eat themselves. In this case, that too is permissible, whatever is convenient. But you are not allowed to sell nor buy any part of the Hajj or the Fidya or the Udhiyah. Wallahu ta'ala a'la. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Shahida from KSA. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, sister. Yeah.
I have 3 questions.
Please.
Yeah, my first question is actually, my mother died few days earlier.
May Allah have mercy on her. I'm sorry to hear that, sister.
Yeah, as a child, what can we do for her now? After she passed away, what shall I do for her now? Besides Sajda, how can I send her reward to her?
Okay.
And the second question is, from which age Salah is first on a child?
Mm-hmm.
From which age is first on a child? No? From which age they should play Salah compulsory on them.
Okay.
And the third question is, after the tahajjud prayer, I used to pray with us. So, and after that, sometimes I used to recite Quran. So I want to ask you, actually, I want to know whether it is I should pray, I should recite Quran before the Salah, or this should be the last ibadah.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan shahida, and sorry to hear about your mother's death. May Allah have mercy on her. Okay. Sister Imtiaz from KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Sheikh, I have a 2-year-old daughter. Whenever I'm getting angry with her, she's also repeating the same, and she's also sometimes raising the hand. So please, can you give me advice how to deal with her?
Who is she?
2 years old, 2 years, 3 months.
Okay, so you're talking about... Oh, okay. You're talking about 2 years old, not a boxer.
Yes, that's sorry, yeah.
Okay, your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter. So if I am polite, she's not listening. I am getting angry, and she's also repeating.
Imtiaz, just have fun with her, play with her, enjoy this time. This time is the best time of her age, so do not take it personal. She's not your competitor, you're not in a fight. Even if she raises her hand, you smile, you play with her, it's not a big deal. It's not really a problem. This reaction is instant, it's not really premeditated, nor intended, because she's only 2 years old. And may Allah bless you in her. And I have a friendly advice. If you have any problem with your child, dua and ruqyah. Just remember, when was the last time that you placed your palm on her forehead, even when she's asleep, and you kept reciting Quranic verses, Ayatul Kursi, the great ayah of the Quran, and Surah Al-Fatiha, and many of the adhkar and ad'iyah. That helps a great deal, inshaAllah Azza Jal. And once again, may Allah bless you in her, and may Allah guide her and make her calm. Okay, any other callers? Okay. Naam. Amita from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, I'm from India. I'm non-Muslim actually. But when I came in Saudi, I fall in love with one Muslim man, and he is from Egypt. But I have something to tell you about, and he loves me, and me also love him. But he is taking more doubts about me. What should I do for him?
What do you mean he's taking more doubts about you? I'm not.
You're not clear. Okay, I'm sorry. And whenever my phone is engaged, he is thinking that I'm talking with another man. Or whenever I talk on duty with another person, he's just thinking that I have some relationship.
Are you still Hindu? Have you accepted Islam yet?
I'm Christian.
You're Christian, okay. And you guys are planning to get married?
Yeah, he promised me that he will marry, but I don't think so. Now he is in Egypt. And he is not caring about me.
How did you get to know him?
Huh?
How did you get to know him?
He also worked before in Saudi. We worked together.
Okay. Anita, did you ever consider accepting Islam, or did you think about it? Have you ever talked about it?
I think about it, and I just think, and I told him many times, if it is like this, I'm planning to be Muslim. And every day I see Huda TV, and I'm really thankful to God that I just get something new knowledge about the Islam.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Inshallah Azza Jal, of course I will answer your question pertaining that jealousy feeling that he has. This is typical for the Arab, of course. But my main concern now, Anita, since you called in, and you've been following Huda TV and so on, I guess you have been living and working around Muslims, and you have the chance to get a closer look and experience what Islam is all about. I believe it is your chance and opportunity to get closer to Allah, recognize your true Creator, recognize His rights upon you, and turn to Him with gratitude and believe in Him alone. All your problems, inshallah, will be solved. And I have a feeling, I have a very, very strong feeling that inshallah Allah will guide you and open your heart to accept Islam. And inshallah you will have a happy life with your new life mate. But please consider my advice tonight before tomorrow, because life is very, very short. Some people keep contemplating the idea and they say, I'm thinking about it, I'm considering it. Maybe one day, but you never know whether this one day will come or not, and you never know whether I will live until this one day which I'm expecting will come or not. Seize this opportunity, and tonight, please, Anita, even if you have any questions in order to help you make the decision, I'll be more than happy to assist you if you take my number from the control. Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. Khurshid from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sheikh Salah?
Great, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah.
Sheikh Salah, my question is for Amana. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. What about it?
Sheikh Salah, what happened around 30 years back when I got married? So one gold set my mother has given to me, and I kept with my sister, elder sister.
Mm-hmm.
And after 28 years, when I got married of my son, So I need it back from her.
Hmm.
And she said that it is in the locker and this and this and this. And even though the marriage happened, we didn't get that set which belongs to my wife, given by my mother. When I came back to Dubai, my brother-in-law called and said that that set has been stolen from the house.
Hmm.
I said, fine, you should tell me before. Now you are saying, okay, no problem, I don't want anything, leave it on Allah. So I cannot have a bad relation with my sister. Naturally, I cannot leave her as well as my wife. I have to listen her. So in the light of Quran and Sunnah, you tell me what I should do. Should I leave it to my sister and just say leave it to Allah?
Mm.
Or what I can do? Because my wife is not ready. She is very religious. And she's saying that leave it on Allah. I don't want. This is not my set which my mother-in-law has given to me.
MashaAllah, Brother Khurshid, you have a very strong memory. You remember that you deposited an amana with your sister 30 years ago.
Yeah. And the main problem is what, Ya Sheikh Salah, my daughter is in the house of my elder sister's son married, and she's in that house.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I got it. I perfectly understand where you're coming from. Harder.
Yeah, so just I want to know that in the light of Quran and Hadith, what I should do.
Okay. Shukran. Jazakallahu khairan, Khurshid. I only have just a couple of minutes, and all the questions are very important to answer, but in order to stick to the order, I will go with Bismillah. Najib from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He had a question pertaining inheritance. He said, mashallah, he has one son and one daughter. And I asked him, he said he also had have his mother. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah An-Nisa, وَلِأَبَوَيْهِ لِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا السُّدُسُ مِمَّا تَرَكَ إِنْ كَانَ لَهُ وَلَدٍ. So the mother gets 1/6 of his inheritance. And of course, may Allah bless you, if your wife is, alhamdulillah, alive, she gets 1/8 of the inheritance, because that you already have children too. And the remaining part will be divided لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, for a male double the share of a female, in this particular mas'ala. He has 4 properties. He asks whether it is a good idea to divide his inheritance before, after his long life, inshallah, before it's over, or to leave it up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would also like to add to that, there is a very important thing. When I asked you about your brothers and sisters, even though they are not included in the inheritance, but it is highly recommended to include them in the wasiyah. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, لا وصية لوارث. The wasiyah is prescribed for those who do not have a legal share in the inheritance. So these are your brothers and sisters too. Keep them in your consideration to give them a part. And the wasiyah should be lesser than 1/3. Maximum 1/3, but it is recommended to be lesser than 1/3, because the Prophet ﷺ said to Sa'd, وَالثُّلُثُ كَثِيرٌ, and 1/3 is a lot. Now, in order to resolve this whole issue, you can do the following. The Prophet ﷺ said that it is a must on every person who possesses a property to have his wasiyah written with him, to keep it beneath his pillow or in a safe place, and should not spend a night or two without having his wasiyah written, his will. In the wasiyah, you can resolve this issue simply by saying, I order my wealth to be divided according to the Sharia, or according to the fara'id, or the inheritance law in Islam. And also I'm keeping or saving 1/3, or 1/4, or 1/8 as a wasiyah for 1, 2, 3, 4 of those who are not legally your heirs, because you have children already, alhamdulillah wa shukrulillah. So this is the best way in order to diffuse the problem from evolving in the future, inshaAllah azza jal. And meanwhile, because it's properties, you cannot divide them. You cannot say you have 50% of this property versus this and this and that. So afterward, if they want to sell it, and everybody gets their share, that's fine. Perhaps one person wants to buy the share of the other in order to keep the property, the integrity of the property and keep it as a whole. That's up to them. So in your wasiyah you say that my wealth or my inheritance should be divided according to the Sharia, according to the inheritance law in Islam, and include your brothers and sisters in the wasiyah because they are not legally amongst the heirs. هذا والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate